Don't look under the internet.
Boys, let's fucking do this thing. Hit record on that. Gosh dang.
Oh, dude, I've been recording for like a minute and a half.
That's right, no doubt. All right, well, let's get into the mix, boys.
Yeah, I mean, are you guys all ready to go?
Yeah, I'm born ready.
All right.
I'm Ron fucking Swanson.
Doug, you wanna?
Yeah. Welcome back, everybody, to another riveting episode of Don't Look Under the Internet. We are here today to talk about a pretty interesting topic.
Well,
I think it's really great.
Aren't you going to introduce us, Doug?
I think he's in the process of doing that.
Like our name?
Like our podcast name?
No, my name.
Well, you're different every time, so I was gonna let you take it from there. But I just want everyone to know what we're talking about today, which is Kanye Quest.
Yes, sir. Kanye Quest. That was that video game, right, where supposedly a cult was involved.
Yeah.
What is the face?
You okay?
We're talking about Kanye Quest right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the episode we're doing.
We're doing Polybius.
What the hell is that?
No, I thought we were doing Publius next week. Or 2 weeks, whatever it was.
No.
Well, all my notes are on Kanye Quest.
Oh, mine too.
Yeah.
Do you want to introduce the topic for us?
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, it's Kanye Quest. Well, first of all, hi.
Hello.
Hello. Jason, hello.
Hi, I'm Jason.
Hi,
I'm
Doug. Go ahead.
I'm Mike.
No, you're Doug.
Oh, right.
God, we are doing fantastic right now.
Today is
and
a
my
good day.
name. My name is Mike. You can call me Mycicle.
Let's
Mike-sicle.
Mycicle.
All right, so we are not actually doing Kanye Quest today. That was just a little jokey, pranky prank that we
scared me.
played on Mike.
If you turn up the audio enough, you could probably hear my heart just thump, 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 thump. I
No,
was panicking. So, I did no research for the Kanye Quest.
you're like, oh, piss.
all the color just drained out of your face.
I know, your eyes, you were like, what?
Like,
Mission accomplished.
no, we're doing Polybius, which is it's a very, very, very well known. I think it's been dubbed pretty much as an urban legend at this point.
Polybius.
But I mean, you can find evidence either way. Well, you'll see. It's very interesting, especially for those that are kind of interested in early creepy video games. You would definitely take an interest in this guy.
Let's take a moment to. So you have Pac-Man, right?
Yeah.
You got your Froggers. You got other ones like Mickey Mouse and the Ronald McDonald game. It's like Ronald McDonald's Funhouse or some shit where
The one that you got out of a Happy Meal or whatever?
Yeah. And then you have Polybius, an equally well-known game. Household, I would say. Almost up there with the PlayStation 2.
Oh yeah.
The PlayStation 2 is a pretty big urban legend, so I'll give you that one.
Also, the rumor was that every purchase of a PlayStation 2 came with a free Polybius cabinet.
They just don't want it anymore.
They just don't want
They're
it.
like, just take it, please.
Please take it.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know what Polybius is, essentially, back in 1981, it's a very old arcade cabinet. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at you guys like you fucking don't know what I'm talking about. We've been doing
No, we
research on
do.
this.
You said essentially.
But
And it made me smile because I didn't say it.
Another ticker. It's an old arcade cabinet. The gameplay was said to be very similar to Tempest and old vector games. Came out in 1981. It was rumored that playing this game would cause a lot of severe health issues, migraines. It would cause hallucinations. It would give you essentially the same type of effects that LSD would. The other rumor is that the CIA and the FBI would frequently take information from Polybius cabinets, which is kind of spooky. Can you imagine being in a fucking arcade just playing, like, I don't know, Tetris or some shit, and being like, oh, dang, getting the high score. Some dude in black, Tommy Lee Jones, comes out of nowhere and is just like, excuse me, kid, I gotta get to that Polybius cabinet over there.
Excuse me, small child.
Yeah, and then just hooks up a wackadoo into the back of the cabinet, and just a bunch of fucking ones and zeros go into his little, I'm assuming it's like a big old
handheld.
Yeah, handheld who's it?
A BlackBerry.
Yeah.
The Men in Black need little Timmy to run the CIA because of his high score.
Exactly.
But my favorite, like, urban legend about this is the whole like CIA Men in Black bits about it. I think that's my favorite of all the parts of the legend, because it's just so fun. Anytime the Men in Black come in, you know it was juicy.
Well, you've seen the videos about the Men in Black, right?
Which ones? There's multiple.
There are multiple. My favorite one has to be, there's a video where a hotel concierge is sitting at the desk, and this very tall man in a black suit, black sunglasses, and like a fedora.
Oh, that's Valiant Thor.
Might be. Well, so what happens is he walks up and he says something to the concierge. It doesn't have any audio. It's just a security camera, and he says something to the concierge, and she gets like immediately upset, and then pulls a gun on this guy, and like tells him to like get the fuck out. And he leans over and he says something, and she immediately straightens up, disassembles the gun, puts it into like different pieces next to her, walks around, and just follows him out to his car, and she's never seen again.
Oh, she's a sleeper. Oh, flim flam.
It's
we got sleepers working at the Hyatt Hotel.
There's some cool stuff on the Men in Black, but
We can literally do a whole episode on the Men in Black.
And you know what? We probably will.
Probably, yeah.
Or that's right up our alley. But I guess for the general sense, that is what Polybius is, just an old arcade game.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the fun mystery comes from who made it as well.
There's a lot of speculation around that. I mean, if you look at the screenshots you get of what the game looks like when you boot it up, it pops up in big block letters saying Polybius. It says insert or credits, however many credits are there, and then it says 1981 Xenoslotion.
Props on the pronunciation.
I was
reading it and I'm like, Sign slushy.
Sign slushy. No, so it's Xenoslotion. If you look that term up, you're not going to find anything.
No.
Unless you really, really dig, and I did find one company in like 2008 that held the title of Xenoslotion in the U.S., but it was only for like 6 months, and they don't even show it on the registered, businesses.
They're not part of the Better Business Bureau.
Right, and exactly.
Yeah,
and
there's no info.
None.
I wonder if... So, spoilers for like the end of the episode, but some fans made like Polybius fan-made games. I wonder if someone took the name Xenoslotion to make the game, to make it look more like authentic. You know?
Well, so that's possible. There's some like little tiny strings that are attached to the word Xenoslotion. I know I didn't like. We'll talk about some of the companies that are thrown out there a little bit later. I don't want to kind of go into all that before we kind of know what we're dealing with, which is this. What we have is, like Mike said, we have this video game that was around in the 80s in only these select arcades.
Ooh. Sorry to interrupt,
No, you're
but
good. What's up?
all this takes place in fucking Portland.
Yeah,
Second Portland episode.
Yeah, Portland again, which I don't want to be trained off of this, but we do have a small update on our...
Oh my god,
Yes,
I completely
we
forgot
have a small
about that.
update on
sorry,
Strange
everybody.
Dreams.
So
Segue.
you guys may remember we did an episode on the Willamette Valley and
I
Happy
hope you remember. It
Valley.
was only 2 episodes ago.
Oh, who knows? They could have my memory. If they have my memory, there's no chance.
Yeah.
And they're boned.
But yeah, so I remember telling you guys I didn't get a single response back from the Dream Survey. Well, I did.
This was like a few days ago.
Yeah, it was not too long ago. And here, let me pull up the text right now.
And then while he's pulling up the text too, I just had a little bit I wanted to include with my Eratus story.
Oh yeah, what's up?
A little update with Eratus that I forgot to mention, which was our last episode. When I was doing research for Eratus, my internet kept crashing when I kept looking it up on YouTube, and then my whole YouTube app on my Fire Stick got corrupted. I had to shut down the Fire Stick. I had to restart it. I had to delete the YouTube app, add it back on again, and when I tried to look up Eratus again, the search categories were just all blank. It was just a bunch of like error X's. And then I had to like keep restarting YouTube over and over
Somebody's
and
trying
over
to
and
erat
over.
you.
Apparently. But back to your text message.
Yeah, so it was on Friday, February 5th. I got a text back. So the last text we were sent from them was just a thank you for leaving a voicemail and participating in the Happy Valley Dream Survey. And we asked who runs the Dream Survey. We got nothing back until Friday, February 5th, where I literally just got one message back. It just says me, period. And that's it.
Not a whole lot to go off of, but that's still pretty fun.
Well, that tells us a decent amount. It tells us that these aren't purely automated messages.
Yeah,
there's somebody looking at these, and it's not just sent out to whoever calls. Somebody's going, and it's still active.
Yeah.
Which is the big thing. And this is what, 6 years later?
Yeah.
Did you message them back after me?
Yeah. So after they replied with me, I asked, "What's the weirdest dream submission you've gotten? How do you know Carl?" And the last one being, "What are the right questions?" Because I did read that there was someone who received the reply 9 go 5 jit. That's what they asked.
And that went into the whole 5th of September fiasco.
So I'm trying to see if that still leads there or whatnot. But we'll keep you guys updated if this is actually still active. As of right now, I've got nothing else in my my inbox.
Yeah, but fucking Portland, man. All the
Portland,
weird shit happens in Portland. Keep being weird, Portland.
Yeah, keep Portland weird, please.
Stay paranoid, Portland.
Yes.
I did the thing.
Please and thank you. What were we talking about?
We were talking about
we were on like who
Zenith
created
Lotion.
Zenith Lotion.
Oh, right. So Zenith Lotion is this company that it credits itself for making Polybius in the first place, as according to their title screen. There's actually a little bit more to it. As we can't find anything on Zenith Lotion as a company, no records, no nothing, we kind of have to look at a few other possibilities, people who might be able to. And the very first one that was discovered is somebody named Stephen Roach. And he was the self-confessed designer of 1981's Polybius. But again, it's his word. It's him just coming out and saying, "Hey, I'm Stephen Roach, and
Hi,
it's
Steve.
me." So I have part of the unedited post in front of me.
From where?
So the website that this is on, it's retrobitch.files.wordpress. So it's
like a back end.
Yeah,
Because WordPress is like the back end of a website.
right, exactly. So he's just giving his confessional, and it literally starts with him saying, "I think it's about time I laid this to rest." And then he goes into, and it's by username Stephen Roach. He goes and he outlines how he is his name, Stephen Roach, and he's primarily based in the Czech Republic. And he goes to say,
It's not Portland.
No, it's not Portland at all. He said that the game was created between him and a few other amateur programmers in 1978 that worked on component parts for printed circuit boards and saw programming as a limited but very profitable sideline. Then he goes on to say that he was approached in 1980 by a South American company that shall remain nameless for legal purposes to develop an idea they had for producing an arcade game with a puzzle element that centered around a new approach to video game graphics.
Was that company Amazon? Jeff Bezos, you dragon scum,
Jeff Bezos made Polybius.
hoarding your mountain of gold.
But this post is huge. Like, this is the last half of it.
Oh, God.
I'm not reading all of that. There's no fucking way.
For those of you that can't see because you're not in the room and you're listening
No, they
through
are.
your ears.
Would you look around
Oh,
before
hey!
you fucking say shit?
You got here on time. Hey, you over there
Come on, man.
driving your car right now. But he just showed us a big old list of paper with multiple sentences highlighted.
And I'm not even going to read those. I'm basically what he goes to say is he claims ownership of this company. He claims ownership of the game in cooperation with a few other designers. He goes and he basically verifies all the things that the myth verifies, which is like the Men in Black, the
MK Ultra.
Yeah, the MK Ultra, like the CIA programs and that kind of stuff. And the funny part about him mentioning all these things is the strong ties that this has to things such as MK Ultra. And if you think about what Polybius claims, like they kind of claim very similar stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's the two biggest theories around the game are, like we already mentioned, Men in Black and MK Ultra. For those of you who don't know what the Men in Black are, which I'd be very surprised if you didn't.
It's a lot different from the Will Smith, Tommy Lee Jones
No, it's exactly
movie.
the same. Can you stop lying to our fucking audience, Mike?
They don't appreciate it.
They're not always that nice and funny. A lot of the times, sorry, I'm going through puberty. A lot of the times, they're a lot more sinister.
Yeah.
And usually aliens.
Yeah, I
They're
mean,
alien
that's,
people.
In a nutshell, they're like a secret agency, I guess, that does kind of have their own agenda with things that, us little people don't ever get to know about. So, in regards to Polybius, legend has it that these, Men in Black would come into the arcades and, as Mike said, stick their hoobajamoobers into the machines and take out some kind of data. Now, we don't know what this data is. We don't know what they were exactly grabbing, but
they're finding the address to your dad's house.
they probably have that, and they probably know where I'm at right now.
They probably are listening to this exact conversation.
So pretty much just as fast as the games were put into the arcades, the Men in Black took it out. I think it was 2 or 3 months that they were there.
It was not very long.
Not very good for profits. You can't get that many quarters in 2 months.
They weren't even taking money, as far as we know.
Damn.
What were
they probably took the money, but they don't need it.
No, they don't.
It was
use
the
space
80s.
cash.
A quarter could take space cash.
Space cash.
They
Maybe
use it at a space bar.
I mean,
Starbucks. Bam. Nailed it.
oh, got him.
You did it.
Got him. Mic drop that one. But I mean, as far as the Men in Black are concerned, we have accounts of Men in Black showing up, but are they the same Men in Black that we all know and love? Are they just some government officials in black suits that happen to have come in and did this?
Just a fancy businessman that just really wanted to get into the arcade before he had to go home to his wife and 3 kids.
Some guy just making it harder for children to play. But yeah, we don't know. It could have been, they could have been conditioning people to, as a form of like brainwashing or sleeper agents or, similar techniques to what, MK Ultra happens to be. Which, if you don't know what MK Ultra is,
Please.
It was literally the CIA mind control program.
Mm-hmm.
That's another one we could literally do a whole episode on.
Yeah.
Wasn't the Unabomber part of MK Ultra? Like, wasn't he experimented on? That's why he
I
went so
think
crazy.
he claimed that.
Yeah.
I think I don't really know as much about the Unabomber as I'd like to.
Wasn't he the
Now
guy
that I
that
think
put
about
like
it.
arson or anthrax in envelopes and mailed them to people? Didn't he do that?
I think
He
it was
took
a
the
different
band.
person,
He
'cause
took the band Anthrax and put it shoved them into an envelope.
Yes.
That's fair.
That's not a bad theory, Mike.
I know.
We can roll with it. That's fine.
Yeah, so the band Anthrax was the Unabomber.
I'm gonna write this down. But yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, we could literally talk about MK Ultra forever, and we would totally get off topic, which we have done quite a few times already in this episode. But
Well, we can't help it, Doug.
I know
I have the
we get
attention
excited.
span of a fly.
You what?
I have the attention span of a fly.
Oh, gotcha.
Can you not hear me?
I couldn't even pay attention to you for the rest of your sentence.
Went in one ear, right out the other, so quickly. But yeah, these arcade cabinets. I'm trying to get us back on track here. These arcade cabinets are highly likely to have been used to flash unsuspecting kids' minds with radio waves or electromagnetic waves. That could have been a form of this testing.
5G.
Yeah, go burn your local 5G tower down, people.
Yes, and then tell us what happens, please.
The 5G will make our kids gay.
Oh,
It'll make your frogs kids gay.
Oh no, that's worse.
damn. Yeah, essentially, the last thing about MK Ultra, because like I said, we're gonna go way off topic here, is it ran from 1951 to about 1973. So this game came out about 1981. Up until 2018, new information has been continuously sourcing out from MK Ultra testing. So like really the possibilities of us knowing when MK Ultra stopped is kind of in question. Yeah, if it has or has not. Like we don't know actually. So those are like the main two theories that kind of surround this machine that we can't really confirm or deny. So pretty exciting stuff.
It is exciting.
That's kind of like that's what I like about this though is
the excitement.
Yeah, the excitement, the just the uncertainty about it all. You know, like there's no. I don't know. It's hard to find concrete evidence one way or another.
You know, there's so much information, yet such little.
Yeah, it's very much. It's very much like for example, like where it came from. There's so much like little stuff. That's it. There's nothing like huge. You know what I mean? Like they don't tell you like the warehouse it was built in or anything. That's yep. That's your part of... No, you have to sip it into the mic for maximum ARSM.
Oh, right. So you mean like this?
Nice. The folks at home will love that.
Fresh can of...
Peebus.
What? No.
Crispy Peebus.
Crispy Polybius. Crispy Polybius.
But for example, where Polybius came from, the first, like, mentions of Polybius, it's kind of just a crapshoot. There's no true, like... one place where it came from. Like, some people claim that the legend started on Usenet in 1994. But if you go through Usenet, you can't really find much of it on anything. The only like a real like first post you find is on a place on coinop.com. Oh, sorry, .org. Sorry, I forgot it. Okay. But I know, embarrassing. I'm so sorry, everyone at home. But that's where you find like the first actual post is on coinop.org. But people, you know, the legend goes that it was found on Usenet in the 90s. Other people are like, oh yeah, people have just been talking about it forever, and that's how the legend got started. It's just word of mouth. You know, like that hot sauce that everybody likes. What's it called?
The bomb?
No, the one with like the chicken on the label, and it's like super popular. It's not hot sauce. It's that other stuff. What's it called? Red sauce. Sriracha. It's that really popular brand of sriracha. Yeah. No commercials. It's all word of mouth. Just like Polybius, sriracha.
I'm sure there might be some in Japan or something.
No.
I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah. The only other mention, but the mention on CoinOp, the only way that it's mentioned is you see a copyright date for a name Polybius. The copyright date is 1981, which is when this whole legend started. But if you look it up, there's no actual copyright in existence. So if it was copyrighted at one point, it's not anymore. It's kind of free game at the moment. So even its origins are muffled, and there's not really much to go off of. You know, it's just one of those like rabbit holes that don't have an ending, because
so there's several
the before internet times there was no records of shit.
And so actually researching this topic kind of like made me more aware to that, because I used to use Usenet like way
to
back
date yourself.
I know.
I'm gonna use Alta Vista next. Use the Xanadu hyperlink project from the 60s.
So I did use Alta Vista, but thank you so much. Well, it's hard to think about a time where you can't go to your computer or your phone and type in whatever the fuck you want and get 900,000 search results for it.
Yeah, I would have had to go to the library like some loser.
Yeah, and so this is like the startup of the internet. Like, it's not startup, but it's closer to the origination point of it, and so they haven't really figured out how to sort stuff and how to archive stuff properly.
Well, the internet's a fad. It's gonna go away.
Yeah, that's how they all thought.
Yeah.
And now it literally runs our lives. So it's kind of cool to dig back through these old internet archives and see what kind of organization systems they had.
And to see
bad.
And to see what these websites looked like back then.
Oh.
Not to tangent off, but I'm imagining Usenet in 1994 wasn't the prettiest looking website.
No.
Hell, if you want an example of an untouched website, the Space Jam website is still up from 1996, and it has not been touched since. You can look it up.
Really?
Yeah, it looks exactly the same as when it did. And it's got, if you want like phone wallpapers, if they have like wallpapers on there like Bugs Bunny and all them, and they're like extremely high resolution for no fucking reason, and they're really good. Like they're really cool looking wallpapers. So, and you can go on mobile too, and it works on mobile, which is odd. But fun fact, look that up, everybody. It's really neat.
Spacejam.what.com?
Just spacejam.com.
No, .gov. Sorry.
I'm worried that they might update it because of the new Space Jam movie.
Oh, those bitches.
I hope they don't though.
They fucking better.
They better not. Otherwise, I'm gonna go kiss LeBron James on the lips.
You have a lot of kissing to do.
I have a lot of kissing to do. I gotta kiss your
Is
dad.
there something do you need help? Like, is there something you're not telling us?
Are you
like,
okay?
Is everything good at home?
Yeah, everything's great. I just love kissing.
Word.
I just love kissing.
Ooh-wee.
Back
on track.
Yeah, no. So actually, speaking of Usenet, I just kind of wanted to give a little bit of background information about what it was, and we'll use a term that everybody here knows. I'm 100% positive, and that's Reddit. Think Reddit. Usenet was the Reddit. All right, I'm deleting this whole recording. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening.
Goodbye.
It's
to the
time
final
to go.
episode.
It was a great run. No, it's Usenet was Reddit. It was just a place to post, discussion topics, learn more about something that you want to from people who are knowledgeable about it. Very, very low quality compared to Reddit, but you can still get the information if you looked for it. And so I actually did a little digging through the old Usenet, and the only mentions of Polybius that I could find...
Wait, Usenet is still up?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was acquired by Google Groups.
Oh, yeah. Shit.
So you can get the entire Usenet archive if you go to the Google Groups and just search for
whatever. I bet you can look up like the Wayback Machine and shit too.
Yeah, you can also use an Internet Archiver like that. The only mentions to Polybius were to the Greek historian from Arcadia.
Nice.
Did you get that?
They must have done that on purpose.
Arcadia, yeah. So you get him. It tells you a little bit more about his the Polybius Square, which is a cipher tool that he created, which is cool. It's a little confusing to use. I tried looking at how to encode and decode stuff, and this is the tail end of my research, and I'm just like I can't.
I can't learn math right now.
Do this right now.
I didn't get into the podcast game to do math.
There's gotta be a website somewhere that'll just do it for us. We'll be fine.
Maybe.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I have a whole data bank of cipher websites where we don't have to do the work, but we still get the results. Very okay with that.
Someone get what's his name? Alan Turing.
Yeah, the Turing test.
Turing machine.
Someone get him on this.
Did you know that you can make a Turing machine out of the correct deck format of a Magic the Gathering deck?
Hell yeah, man.
It's fucking dope, actually.
Thanks, Wizards of Oz.
Look that up on YouTube one day.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, there's a good video about it.
Like I said, not a whole lot. The only things on Usenet were these little blips about the ancient Greek historian and one of his creations. And this is when you think Reddit, what do you think of?
Space dicks.
I mean, yeah. So that's actually a decent answer.
What was the one that we used to go on?
Birds with arms.
Space Clop.
Space Clop. That's the one.
Oh, God. I need those hours.
50-50.
50-50 is a good one.
That one's rough.
Purple Cocoa.
Birds with arms.
Birds with arms is fantastic. But no, it's literally everything from everywhere, all compiled and organized and ready to be researched. It's this giant encyclopedia of everything. And that's what Usenet was, which lets you compile and search for things in this kind of organized fashion. You'd think that something that has that, if you searched a very, very popular key term, such as Polybius, something would come up that has nothing to do with, the Arcadian historian or one of his inventions. I couldn't find anything.
Yeah.
Now, granted, so I do kind of want to say that not finding anything, to me anyway, doesn't mean that there's nothing to be found.
I think that just means you have to dig harder to find the truth.
Or whoever wants it to not be there is very good at making sure it isn't. And that's part of the whole
the Men in Black.
Myth. Yeah, you can't prove any of these claims, but you can't disprove them. So you're just kind of stuck in limbo.
Cue the X-Files theme.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, so it's just funny just thinking about a lot of doing a lot of this research, there's just so little information on all of these like main key points, and Sinus Lotion is probably the one with the least information on it.
There's nothing.
You've got Polybius, which has nothing on it in the first place, and then
Right.
you've got the people who made it that has even less information.
Yeah, really the only thing on Polybius is that the myth itself, Polybius. There's like almost nothing else on it. You know what I mean?
It's just that's the. Wouldn't you want to know? So you found out about this and you shared it with us, right, Mike?
Mm-hmm.
And we all, I know, at least I'm not going to speak for Doug, but I know for me, as soon as I heard about this, I was like, holy shit, this is a really cool topic. I want to know more about it.
Mm-hmm.
The worst fucking thing is that you see, like, oh, hey, there's a arcade game from the 80s that is brainwashing and mind controlling these children, sending some to the hospital. Like, what the fuck? And you go to research it, and everything's a dead
there's
end.
nothing.
There's paths to follow, but it's all dead.
There's plenty of websites that are literally the same, like, retelling of the story over and over, and like I hit
Just
like
in a different
20
person's voice.
Yeah. Which is basically what we're doing here, but
Yeah.
We're contributing to the problem.
yeah, seriously, we're making it even more confusing for everyone for sure. But what we do know about Sinus Lotion is very little, very very, very
So
little.
what do we know about that little word?
What'd you call it?
Sinus lotion.
Sinus Lotion.
No, what did you call it before?
No. Snowy
Sid
sluts.
lotion.
Sid lotion.
Sid lotion.
Well, I said it because I was
Johnson &
breaking out
Johnson
the
company.
words. So that's one thing we do know. It's like a broken German
Yeah.
word. Like it's not technically correct, I guess.
Okay.
But you've got
What do you mean not technically correct?
like it's not grammatically written. Like the word itself, like
so that's just
isn't-
not a German word.
I don't believe so. No.
It's a made-up German. All words are made up.
Well,
in this sense.
that's true.
All right, I quit.
Again, we are ending the episode for the second time.
Well, you have sin or sign or however you say it, which means sense, and then you have lotion, which means extinguish,
Which means rub on dry skin.
and I'm probably saying these very, very incorrectly, which I apologize
we're not
to
German.
everyone about. But when you kind of mush the two words together, you've got delete senses, and it's not quite correct. Either way you look at it, it's just not a correct German formation of the word. The other thing we know is that a lot of people have come forward that said they are this company. We have no records anywhere online. There's nowhere that lists what they've done or anywhere. But one thing we do know is that this text that you see on the classic image of Polybius's startup screen is that their font is at the bottom. It says 1981 Sinus Lotion, and if you deep dive into it, there's a lot of little things you can nitpick out of it. The text is extremely similar to a lot of the text that came from Williams games, arcade cabinets.
Gotcha.
Even Atari ones, like I think the insert coin or like whatever it says at the bottom
credit.
is like an exact match with like most other games. But
There's one. It's called like Bubbles, I think.
Yeah,
the
Bubbles.
Williams game is like
Yep.
Bubbles, and it's like almost an identical match to the font.
I think it's like 3 pixels off and like the L or something like that.
It's the O that has the umlaut over it. It's like a couple pixels off.
Yep.
And that kind of leads you to believe that the umlaut was added and it kind of changed the format.
Yeah, that makes a lot of
Or
sense.
it could just be fucked up over, like the image that we all see itself could just been fucked up over time of just like shitty screen captures or you know what I mean, like
Or
resolution issues or
It could all just be a coincidence too. Like this could be their actual logo. This could be a fucking company. Like this is all speculation about all this.
And it's funny too because we have that like when you Google the word, the first thing you see is the Polybius image, the one that is everywhere, the one that everyone is using as the like basis of like what we're seeing and knowing about how the game looks. But I mean, as far back as you can trace it, it really doesn't come up until about 2000.
Right.
so on CoinOp.
Yeah. I know that CoinOp technically said that it was a published post from 1998 at first, but that little bit of information was added on afterwards. So we don't know. Like, we
Just
have
because
no way
something
of
says
knowing.
that it's made. Then, like, I could put on Facebook that my page was created in the year 600.
That would
That
make you
doesn't make it-
really old.
It would. Or someone knew who I was in the future and just created it in the past.
Wow.
Yeah.
What kind of time traveling shenanigans? Get Marty McFly over here.
The horny kinds.
The horny kind of Marty McFly.
The horny again. I don't want that prude fuck. Give me
Biff?
yeah, Biff the prude fuck. And Marty Horny McFly. Did we just write a porn?
I mean, yeah. There's gotta be.
There's a podcast for that already.
Yeah, there's gotta be a Back to the Future porn called like Back Door to the Future or something.
Oh, I'm
You know
sure.
what? I'm gonna have to look at that. I'll wait.
Good call.
I'll wait.
I'll just hold off on that.
I'll save that for later. Send me that link when you're done.
Don't worry, I got you.
What is it? What's that rule?
Rule 34.
Yeah.
If the thought exists, there is a porn about it. Rule 35 says if there isn't, you have to make it.
Yep.
So you
there
just
you
became
go.
a porn star.
Well, Mike, you might be wearing a very puffy white wig to to help me with that
Ooh,
endeavor.
erotic. I like it.
erotic.
Erotic doc.
Oh.
Anyway,
So that on that note, that's all we know about the company.
Cinelotion.
That's really all we know. We did touch on Stephen Roach a little bit.
actually, since you brought him up, there was one more thing I wanted to add about him.
Yeah, what's up?
So he's one of his nicknames. So there's a couple of Stephen Roaches that exist. That if you look them up, you can look into their backgrounds. One of them, he bears some eerie resemblances to the whole. I don't even know what to call it. The story behind Polybius about like the mind control and everything like that. His literal nickname was the Mentor of Mind Control. So he's ran a few organizations called the Worldwide Association of Specialty Programs in Schools, or WWASPs.
My family came from a bunch of wasps.
What?
I was like,
Wasps. It's like a religious thing. It stands for something.
Oh, the religious sect.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
thought
made
you were literally saying
I have a
you
bug.
guys threw mud at the corner and like nested.
My family is a bunch of insects flying
what
around.
is going on right now?
No. Okay. So it's the WWASPs, and it's this. It's a complicated network of companies and nonprofit organizations, run mostly from a small community near St. George, Utah.
Utah?
Utah. But they've had at least 8 behavior modification schools located in Mexico, Jamaica, Western Samoa, and the United States. There was one in the Czech Republic as well. Now, if you do a search on this guy, you can find his arrest records in all these countries for child abuse and torture. Like it was bad. Every single school that this guy taught at, here are a few of the things that he put these kids through.
Go into real graphic detail right now.
Okay. No, I'm not. I don't know if I can about a few of these, especially because we just ate, and
Yeah,
I don't
no.
really want to vomit all over. Well, you guys are fine. My table, I don't want.
It's half mine too.
But he would use torture. He'd use starvation, beatings. He would make them sleep with like their arms chained above their head, so like their ass was off the floor. They just had to hang there by their arms all night. They would be forced to eat their own vomit instead of actual food. They would be forced to. Yes, topical. They would lay in their own urine, their own blood and feces, and in a lot of cases, there was a ton of rape and molestation going on. Now, these are reform schools. Like,
This guy sounds like a real jerk.
so he's done this 4 times, which means he's gotten out of prison 4 times to go back to do this stuff. He was only arrested 3 times. The last time that he was almost caught was in the Czech Republic, running a behavioral modification school with the goal of trying to essentially make like a sleeper agent, mind control, and brainwashing. And that was his specialty. Now he's claiming to have also taken part in this game. Two questions, like
He's claiming, or people just assume it's him because the name is similar.
It's him, and he threw out a couple other names that are a part of it. So a person named Stephen Roach came forward and saying it. And if you search Stephen Roach, you can find all this information.
That's what I was saying. Like I
don't
found
know
it,
if it's him or not.
I found it odd that just this guy who's a very shitty guy
Right.
just has all these schools of. He's like the Professor X of having like mutant schools, but instead of teaching you how to use your powers, he just tortures you.
He just raped him.
Yeah. I find it very odd that he just get on a goddamn forum and be like, "Yep, I made this. Also, here's other things I'm known for."
I totally agree. Why the fuck would you say that? But it also begs the question of like, well, if he's on the run and he's using if he's a programmer or designer, he knows his way around
A map. Apparently, he's been to like 4 fucking countries.
But how to hide his IP? Like he doesn't need to, be worried about someone coming and finding him from where he's posting. Hell, nobody could. No one can confirm that it is him. And if no one can confirm that it is him, that's kind of the whole mystery. These are the kind of points that lend so much mystery to this whole topic. But I just wanted to give some background on this Stephen Roach guy because I forgot he did some horrible shit. And so if this guy that's talking is claiming to have invented this game that is no longer around, that might lend some credibility to its actual existence.
Well, one thing about Stephen Roach that I forgot to mention too. Well, I didn't forget to mention, but a lot of his stuff was fueling the fire for this story for a long time. Until somebody discovered that he was posting all of the comments and replies from the same IP address for a bunch of different users.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah.
So he's like talking to himself.
Yeah, pretty much.
So okay, if that's the case, then it kind of sounds like somebody caught wind of what this guy has done in the past, and is just trying to
Have fun with it.
bumper sticker another horrible possibility of a creation onto his ass.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I am gonna say, speaking of children being tortured or having a bad time,
What does that remind you of, Mike?
it reminds me of going back to our myth of Polybius. One of the big parts of the urban legend are that kids were getting sick playing the game. They were having hallucinations. They were getting health issues. All that stems from, at that same arcade in Portland, 2 kids did get sick from playing video games. Back in 1981 at that same arcade, so perfect timing for everything that had come through. One kid collapsed from a migraine playing Tempest, which might explain the part about the myth about how Polybius runs and plays like Tempest does.
Right.
Another kid, he got stomach pains from playing Asteroids for 28 hours because he was trying to break a Guinness World Record. Which, honestly, if you've been playing Asteroids for 28 hours and the most you get is stomach pains, I think you kind of lucked out.
Yeah.
You don't have. Yeah, you didn't go blind because, I mean, the amount of blue light 80s arcade games probably gave out. How are these people not blind?
Well,
They might be now.
Yeah.
Remember Virtual Boy?
Oh
Oh,
God!
God.
Just
Oh,
shove this
God.
lights in your eyes. And,
Literally, people I'm pretty sure there was a class action lawsuit against that because people actually got their eyes super fucked up from it.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It was shooting red lasers into your face. It was the 80s. They didn't know.
Well, the 80s, they shot a lot of things in their bodies and they didn't know.
It's like
they knew.
cocaine.
No, they just didn't care.
They knew.
But that the big myth about kids getting sick has a little seed of truth to it. Everything in Polybius, the myth, has some seeds in truth, like the Men in Black coming in to inspect these games. Even that has some truth to it. Back in the 80s, back in the 80s, a lot of arcades, they weren't as innocent as
It's not like Chuck E. Cheese.
yeah, they weren't as innocent as Hollywood makes us seem, where it's just a bunch of kids in the arcades playing. A lot of people were using arcades for gambling purposes and essentially drug dens. People would go there to do drug dealing. People would go there to gamble. People would tamper with high scores because they would gamble on who can get the higher score. So a lot of these arcades had police, like FBI and CIA people, going to these arcades, testing these and testing a bunch of cabinets for tampering. So even the men in black, which might just be the local fucking cop, coming in to check if these cabinets are being tampered with or there's any illegal gambling going on.
So what the fuck would they? What are they gambling on?
That's what I was thinking that the other night too. So
Who can Frogger better than the other?
yeah, right.
What 7-year-old can play this video game better than a different 7-year-old?
Well, from what I was looking at, it wasn't just that they're like betting on the arcade games. They were just going to the arcades as like the center for them to meet up to do the gambling
because of all the dark, narrow corridors.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just imagining like a bunch of like big like
a bunch of like big
burly
Italian dudes
just like standing around like a
a Pac-Man
centipede
machine.
game or something. They're all like smoking cigars, like, yeah, Timmy, fucking get him, boy.
Screaming at like a 10-year-old.
Just like throwing money.
The kid's crying and just like, oh no.
The
There's
kid
just
that
like this
loses.
weird spotlight on the kid. It's really dark in the background.
The kid that loses, they go take to the back and shoot like Old Yeller. But again, like all these things have a little I guess like nut of truth.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Truth.
Yeah, little nuggets of truth. Like the Men in Black is just the police coming in to inspect these cabinets to see if they're being tampered with and seeing if there's any sketchy folks hanging around.
Right.
So it's funny how these small, like all these things started happening at the same time. You know what I mean? Kids getting sick, the gambling rings, all this, Polybius starting at that exact same time, it all taking place in Portland, Oregon. I guess Portland was like a big
wasn't one of the other games that you had listed kind of also released in Portland? Or was it, or am I wrong?
It wasn't that they were released in Portland. A lot of game designers would release their games in Portland first. Portland was like a hotspot for new releases. They would bring in, they would bring in a bunch of games and they'd have them on unmarked cabinets so you couldn't see the name of them, and they would just test to see how many people like playing them, get feedback on them. So it makes sense that Polybius would be in kind of an unmarked cabinet going into here for a little bit to kind of be in the test zone, the hot zone.
Yeah, you gotta wonder like how many like random games probably that like you've never heard of went in and went out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, so I found an article written by somebody named Kat Despira, and this is a journalist, a video game journalist, and historian that grew up at one of these arcades, like the actual arcade. She remembers the kid that got the migraine so bad that he had to call the police.
she was from the arcade that all this is starting from.
And so I had this whole article by her, and she's saying how she remembers all of these different points that we're making along the way, and she could absolutely see how if you connect those dots, you're going to come up with something that's a little bit more sinister than what's actually happening. And she also sees that that conclusion might actually be real, which is again back to the whole what the fuck is going on with Polybius.
Yeah, and I want to shout out to Ahoy, who made the documentary.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
At the end, I'm going to go through a couple sources that I took a bunch of stuff from. So if anybody wants to look at some more videos or anything, they can look at these. Because I have a couple different, sources written down that I would like to give credit to.
Yeah, absolutely.
But one of the main games that I guess all this stems from is fucking Tempest. That's what Polybius's gameplay itself is based off of.
Yeah, there's a handful of games that kind of give credit to what Polybius is, and Tempest itself is pretty oddly shaped, if you want to call it that. It's basically a square with a little ship that kind of floats around in a circle, fight enemies, and you're just basically trying to survive as long as you can. Mm-hmm. The stages take different shapes. This game came out in 1981. Same year, by Atari. It's one of the first games to use the color quadrascan vector display, which is the like really colorful neon lines.
Yeah.
You'll see that in like Tempest and Cube Quest and stuff like that.
Yep.
But yeah, it was a smart game though. So like, I don't know, like we don't really have any hard evidence of how Polybius looks, although there's lots of recreations, which I actually have one on my computer. But it's basically just shoot and move.
Yeah.
I feel like that's every 80s game. If it's not Frogger or Pac-Man, it's just shoot, move.
Yep.
Shoot, move. Galaga. Space Invaders. It's just Centipede. It's just shoot, move.
One thing that I think my favorite thing about Tempest is that there's a government project called Tempest Codename,
Okay.
and it has to do with spying on information through unintentional radio or electronic signals, sounds, or vibrations.
Ooh.
Which kind of just full circle comes right back to fucking Polybius being some MK Ultra shit.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was weird when I looked it up. Like I typed in Tempest, and the first thing that comes up before the video game is the Wikipedia page for this fucking government code name Tempest. And I was like, damn, like are all 80s video games just fucking government
Based
bullshit
off,
now? Like what?
The great social experiment.
Right.
Who fucking knows?
Um,
One of the other great kind of inspirations for this was Cube Quest.
Yeah, Cube Quest.
A cube called Quest.
Cube called Quest.
Nice.
A quest called Cube. Did you guys ever play
a cube called Quest.
A tribe called Cube.
No, I never heard about it until we actually started doing research for Polybius.
Yeah, so
Cube Quest is crazy looking.
Yes. So I actually remember one of my cousins had this game, and we never played it. I just saw it sitting on the shelf. We always played some other games like Contra and stuff like that. But it was released in 1983 in arcades by a company called Simutrek, designed by Paul Allen Newell and Duncan Muirhead. If you've ever heard of those designers.
Oh yes, Muirhead.
So one of the reasons
The very one.
I really wanted to kind of research this is I found out that the CGI backgrounds in Cube Quest were also used in it's like a short abstract art film called Beyond the Mind's Eye. I actually had this VHS as a kid, and I would watch it. I was like 5. I would watch it like every day after school, and it was all just these super weird abstract, like a floating head, like belching metal flowers that turned into dancing midgets or something like that. It's all very strange, but I loved it.
Oh.
So a little bit of trivia. It's in that film if you want to check that out. I doubt you'll be able to find it anymore, but if you do, awesome. Actually, if you do find it, send it my way. I would love to A, show you two, and B, kind of take a trip down memory lane there. But the basic goal of this game was to guide a spaceship through the cubic world to reach the treasure of Mytha, located at the opposite extreme of the player's origin. And each one of these cube edges led to like 50 some odd different corridors that were... I don't think I'd be able to play this game for more than 5 minutes because these corridors were just flashing and neon colors, and you had to try to like avoid shit and shoot other shit, and it was a lot. It was just a big tube shooter.
A lot of these games remind me of Geometry Wars.
I think we broke Mike.
Doesn't work. Tube shooter.
Oh my god. Tube Shooter 4.
Oh, what the fuck?
We need to copyright that.
Tube shooter. Shoot tuber.
Oh, shit.
So the way this was described and the way this game is played, it sounds very, very, very similar to the gameplay in Polybius, which you circle some kind of geometrical object from what you can see, shooting at it until you get forced into one of these tubes where you shoot things.
Sorry.
But after kind of looking into this, it made me think, is this just kind of like a big...
Shooter?
Well, like, Mandela Effect.
Yeah.
You guys remember when Nelson Mandela died?
I mean,
in prison?
we
I
all
remember
do.
the Bernstein Bears.
So the reason it's called the Mandela Effect is that he didn't die in prison. Although you can find thousands, if not tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who will describe the exact same events like it happened, but when you boil it down, it didn't fucking happen. Same with, like you said, the Bernstein Bears.
Or the Monopoly guy having a monocle.
I saw that the other day,
Yeah,
actually.
he doesn't have a monocle.
No
I had to
monocle.
go and check my 2 Monopoly boxes at home.
Yeah, so this could be like maybe just selective memory based on what game you're playing. The other thing that it could lead you to is something called the Publius Enigma, and this kind of leads you back to Usenet. Publius Enigma was something put out by Pink Floyd as just this giant puzzle. It's still unsolved to this day, and it was on Usenet back in the day, and a lot of people think that the people that are remembering Polybius on Usenet are actually thinking of the Publius Enigma.
Oh, that would make sense.
It's very, very similar.
Is it like a marketing thing for Pink Floyd?
No, I don't think nobody solved it, right?
There's no one has come forward to claim ownership except for the band members of Pink Floyd saying that it must be some Epic Records marketing scheme, but and they gave times and they would line up with things that happened during Pink Floyd shows, so I'm sure it is some kind of marketing stunt.
There's a picture of one of their like concerts that has the word like
Publius Enigma in like one of their light shows.
Yeah.
So
that's kind of fun.
It is, yeah.
Maybe we can do an episode on the
I would be more than happy
Publius
to.
Enigma.
But so a lot of people think that, and when people think of Polybius, they're thinking of, the Publius Enigma.
That would make sense.
It is so hard for me to go from saying Polybius to Publius because I feel like I'm just going to say the same fucking thing twice.
Poo-poo?
The poo-poo Enigma.
The poo-poo.
Eat the poo-poo.
That's all I could think of the whole time you were saying both those words. I was just like, poo-poo.
No, so like it could be a combination of a bunch of different video games, such as Tempest and Cube Quest. But there's another really, really decently sized topic that kind of covers this exact same thing, where a video game is using children to a government is using a video game to recruit people, and that game was
The Last Starfighter.
Mm-hmm.
And you're off by a little bit. It wasn't the government using games. It's an alien government.
I said a government.
Damn,
Rewind that
you
for
got
you.
me. No,
No, hold on. Here we go. We'll just go. An a government.
An egg government?
Damn it!
I like my government sunny side up. No, but yeah, The Last Starfighter is like, well, with Polybius, there was that part of the legend where the government using this game as kind of like a testing grounds to recruit and indoctrinate people into some sort of government agenda. The Last Starfighter is a movie where essentially there's a teenager who's playing a video game, and this video game is being monitored by aliens to covertly recruit people into like their war. I haven't seen the movie, but it sounds kind of fun.
Sounds like Ender's Game.
I haven't seen that or read
read
that.
it.
Yes, but that came out around the same time as the Polybius myth. So it's all these things. It's The Last Starfighter. It's these kids trying to get Guinness World Records. It's Cube Quest. All this stuff.
Plus, it's a video game like revolution. Like this is one of the first times that we've seen video games being able to be mass produced and just sent out to the public without almost any. The public was the test ground, and that's it. It's so easy. I mean, they used to be shipped into arcades and just solid black cabinets, no anything. Like there was no title, there was no nothing on them because they weren't sure if they would make it. If they did, they would then develop the title and everything about it. Which, can you imagine if a game got released today that was like the bare bones of what the game is? It'd be like, is this it? Is this good? We haven't named it. We don't know what it's about.
We got these guys fighting each other on the street. Did you like it? What should we name it?
Fight Streeter.
Fight Streeter.
You know what? That's
Tube Shooter.
Tube Shooter.
Tube Shooter, the fight game.
It's just a bunch of these, a bunch of these things add to the myth, or at least were the inspiration for the myth. And Doug even has a lot of other examples of like
Polybius
things
in the media.
Yeah, things that even Polybius itself has inspired or been in.
Well, I think the whole legend has just kind of become kind of like this staple video game fun tale for people to talk about and reminisce about.
Yeah,
especially if you're around in the 80s when arcades were like super popular.
Absolutely.
A lot of so there's a couple places you can see the Polybius game and just pop culture in general. I just thought they were cool. Simpsons makes a reference to it. You actually see the arcade cabinet in a screenshot in The Simpsons. There's a Batman comic where there's a Polybius arcade game in the background. I've never watched the Goldbergs, but apparently they reference the game in an episode. And also 9 Inch Nails has a music video with their interpretation of Polybius playing in the background. Like, that's the whole music video, is just the gameplay happening of Polybius, and it's just really interesting. I don't know. I thought it was cool.
Nine Inch Nails also had an ARG, right?
Yep. For the downward spiral. Downward spiral.
Bunch of losers. Look at them. They're just as nerdy as us, making that hardcore ass music.
Trent Reznor's a huge nerd.
Trent Reznor? Didn't he do the music or something for that Facebook movie?
I think I remember for the Social Network.
Yeah.
Was it that?
It was Trent Reznor, I'm pretty damn sure.
I'm almost positive you're right. So that's
going from Nine Inch Nails to Mark Zuckerberg.
So I need to not just blindly agree with things, because I just realized that in our Eratus episode, I wrongly claimed that Corbin, Kentucky is the birthplace of Colonel Sanders, and then we just shat all over the people of Corbin, Kentucky, even though it's absolutely not the birthplace of Colonel Sanders.
If any of you at home catch us saying some other wrong shit, please email us at deludipod@gmail.com and just title it "You Dumb Fucks" and then put in the rest.
Yeah, let us know those things, because
seriously,
we do so much research that, like, sometimes shit just meshes together and
some things slip through the cracks, man. We make fun of Corbin, Kentuckians and go to, what did you call it? Fried chicken.
Fried chicken.
The Colonel Con.
All they do is bathe in grease and brush their teeth with mashed potatoes and gravy.
Oh, we're dicks.
Yeah, sorry, Corbin, Kentucky. That's not you.
I mean, it might be.
Again, I've never.
They still have.
They may do.
They still have a
Where
statue.
was he born?
You know what?
He
was born in Henryville, Indiana.
He wasn't even born in Kentucky.
Wow.
Indiana, no wonder he got out of there. So many potholes. Anyway, that's a stab at the Indiana government.
Yeah, and even the world's first KFC is in South Salt Lake, Utah. So I'm not even remotely close to Corbin, Kentucky being the birthplace of KFC.
We might have to issue an apology to Corbin, Kentucky.
Like a public one?
Yeah. We're sorry, Corbin, Kentucky.
We are. We're sorry that we assumed that you had anything to do with one of America's staple restaurants. Please remove your pin from the map, hang up your apron, and go back to your greasy baths. Was that a good apology?
It's a classic YouTube apology right there.
Yeah, the only thing we have to do left is monetize it.
Please donate to our wrongness. If you want to just be more wrong.
Yeah. What I want to know what you guys honestly think of Polybius. Do you think it's legend? Do you think it's actually real? Because I have so many mixed feelings about it. I honestly don't know what I believe myself. What do you think, Doug?
Okay, all right. So when I was doing research the other night, I was doing it with Allie the other night, and she dropped this like bomb of an idea on me, and I want to give her credit for it because it just fucking blew my mind.
Thank you, Allie.
Thanks, Allie.
So we're sitting there. We had just finished.
Actually, no, thank you. You're doing my job for me. You're trying to take my job, Allie. You can't have this mic. I paid for it.
And the next episode, Mike is gone. So no.
So I already lost my AT&T job. I can't lose this one too.
But no. So we're sitting there. We'd just watched the documentary. We were going through like just a bunch of random stuff that we could find on the internet. She was like super deep diving into it with me, and she goes, "So because it was a German game, think about this.
Mm-hmm.
Say the Germans put it in here, like what, post. I can't remember the exact dates for the Cold War.
Cold War. Well, that's Russians.
I know, but so I don't know. We were just like talking about all this random stuff. But so German government put the game into circulation, right? And the Men in Black was actually checking these for German spying utilities or something along those lines, right? They were looking
for the Germans.
So, AKA, we were sending the Men in Black to make sure that the Germans weren't putting anything into our arcades to, dick with our children.
Like spy on us, kind of?
Yeah.
This is an age of espionage.
Yeah, that's kind of fun.
When you look at the World Theater, there's a lot of that shit going on.
That's interesting.
And that's why they disappeared so quick. So, like, maybe
they found
there was stuff in them. And
That's
so the Men
a
in Black
good theory.
Well, this goes to MK Ultra. Like when people were touting this stuff about how like, oh, there's a government program where they're testing mind control and brainwashing and like sleeper soldiers and all that, and everyone reacted to it just like we are reacting to this video game, saying like, oh, there's no fucking way, there's no fucking way, there's no fucking way.
It happened.
It did.
Operation
It literally
Paperclip
happened.
too.
Yeah,
It happened.
It all happened.
That's an interesting
we have
take on it.
precedent.
I didn't think of that.
Right? I when she said it, I was just like,
Wow.
holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
Get her on the
Like,
show.
goddamn.
It would be an easy way to do it, especially with we're going through the golden age of video gaming. It'd be so easy to hide anything you wanted in an arcade, really. They're already doing it with heroin and meth. Like
We found this video camera hidden in the arcade machine. It's like a giant
VHS.
like VHS. And it's
a
just
man.
like, in the cabinet, like cranking like an old 30s camera.
He waits till everyone goes home and he uses the quarters to go buy food. I'm so fucking hungry.
That's why they never
But
saw
he's a
him
German
leaving with
man.
coins, you know?
Right.
I am so hungry. I haven't had my strudel today.
I've had my knees to my chest all morning.
I can't feel my ass.
What do you what do you think, Doug? Do you think there's truth in this? Do you think it's real? Do you think it's made up?
Well, being like the mega like nerd gamer that I am, like I really want to believe that this is true. Like I really like a big part of me wants this to be like a real thing. Like, you know, I'm all about like these myths. I mean, we have a whole fucking podcast about this stuff. Like I
Yeah.
want this to be true. Like, but this one hits a little harder for me because like the whole idea just is like I grew up playing video games.
Right.
Like, the farthest back I can remember, I was probably playing Warcraft 1, you know, the first one on a computer.
Oh God, on DOS.
Windows 95 or something like that. Like,
You could be Joe Rogan paying didn't he pay like $1,000 a month for like 3 megabyte internet back in the 90s so he can play fucking he was trying to play a game.
I know nothing about this.
No, not StarCraft. The game that we played a lot. You have it on the Switch. You brought it over to my house and
Diablo.
Like wanted to play
yeah.
like Diablo,
Yeah.
like the first one, and like 3 megabyte internet was like the fastest thing in the world back in the 90s.
Yeah.
So he paid like $1,000 a month for it to play Diablo or some shit.
Jesus. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't either.
I actually don't know a whole lot about Joe Rogan.
me neither. Other than that, and he likes DMT.
DMT, yeah.
DMT, he loves his DMT.
Not a sponsor.
No.
Joe Rogan sponsor us.
Please send us money in DMT.
Give me drugs.
Any spare, it's fine. You can have already maybe smoked it. I don't care.
So I totally agree with Doug here. Like I will always be the first to give credence to some kind of wild out there fucking idea, especially of like a mind control video game. And like I can totally see how they use a visual medium to just kind of fuck with your head, because if I watch things way, way, way too long, I start to, get headaches. And I can lend some credence to that. And I want to believe that there's a video game out there that the government developed to put into an arcade to try to fuck with kids. Like, as horrible as it sounds, that I want that to be
Well,
true.
even the government. When I was looking into everything, I forgot what game it was, but the government went to a game developer, like a company, like a big company, and wanted them to create like a battle simulator, and they did. And it's like a tank shooter for the government. It's like a VR tank shooter. They made it
So
in
kind of like a flight simulator, but
yeah, they made it in the 80s. I don't remember what it was, but that shit happens though.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that shit happens. Like the government does get involved with video games.
Yeah.
World of Tanks.
World of Tanks.
Yeah, what a game.
How about you, Mike? What are your thoughts on all of this?
I am so split on this one because,
Yeah.
like you guys said, I want it to be real because how fucking fun and terrifying is it that the government is like putting out these like brainwashing video games? But how fun is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's a couple.
intriguing.
There's a couple things that don't really add up. I mean, one, first and foremost, it's very coincidental that 1981, when Polybius apparently came out, all these things happened. The kids were getting sick playing other games. People like cops and FBI agents were going into arcades to test for tampering, for gambling purposes and everything. There's The Last Starfighter. There's all these things where you could say someone like saw all these things and took all this inspiration and made Polybius the myth out of all of it. It's all there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It makes sense. You can take all this and make Polybius myths out of it. Even like, for example, the Men in Black going to take data from the Polybius game.
Right.
What kind of data are they even taking? You know what I mean? What are they taking? High scores? It's the 80s. What data can you
Ass
even take?
did real well this week.
Yeah. He's number 1, 2, and 3, and Fart is in 4th. And Cox spelled COX. But you know what I mean? Like, it was the 80s. It's an arcade game. There's no data to take there. It's not like it's like reading a person's face using face recognition and putting that into some database and getting their home address, not like today's standard where that's a possibility. But back in the 80s, that technology wasn't there.
No.
So I want to say it's not real because of the whole aspect of the technology is just not there for these type of things to be real. There's no way Men in Black can collect user data off an arcade game. It's just not possible. I want to say it's real. There's a lot telling me no, but there's a lot of like heart telling me yes.
Yeah,
so
man, telling me no.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
My body.
I'm split right down the middle. I can't give an answer if it's real or not. I just don't have one.
I truthfully, I can't either.
Same. I'm on the same page, and the fucked up part is literally every other person that has done a deep dive on this topic is also on the same page.
Speaking of that, thank you. I kind of wanted to give a thank you to some of the sources I used.
Oh, yes, please.
There's Ahoy, who has that whole like hour-long
Over an hour long
YouTube video on it. A lot of this is YouTube stuff because it's just easier looking at shit at YouTube.
Yeah.
Scott the Woz has a fun video. It's nothing like huge, but it's entertaining and it gives a good description of what Polybius is. The Game Theorist has one, which is really good. That one actually has a lot of good information in it.
Well, he uses math to prove or disprove stuff.
Yeah, so his is very good. It's like 8 years old, so it's kind of cringy, but it's still fun.
But if you like super technical stuff as a means of proving or disproving, game theories, as this definitely falls underneath, definitely check him out.
Yep. Wikipedia, I used a bit of Wikipedia on there, and there are sources on Wikipedia. Retro bitch.
Yeah.
Retro bitch.
But that's just a couple of the sources. Those are the main sources that I used. I didn't use Retro Bitch, but most of my sources were YouTube based. Angry Video Game Nerd.
Yeah, he did.
Has a good
he had a really
video
fun
on it.
video.
Yeah, it was funny. It's like half-hour long.
Yeah.
But a lot of it has has a lot of credence to it. So I just wanted to shout out to our sources because they do most of the work for us. So
they make it easy for us.
Yeah. So if you guys want to see more stuff on Polybius, and get probably. Let's be real, probably better information than what we're giving out.
Yeah.
Go look at some of those guys. I highly recommend the Game Theorist episode because he goes into a lot of like the MK Ultra stuff, the Men in Black stuff, and it's really good. And the Angry Video Game Nerd just because he's
that
funny.
One's fun. He makes a creepypasta.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah.
If you guys want to play a recreation of Polybius, you can actually just go to Cinesolution.com. And
it just has
the
it there.
file. Yeah.
If you go to the PlayStation Play Store as well, there's a bunch of Polybius games that you can buy too.
Okay.
They're all just artist renditions of what they think the game would have been like and what it would look like if it was made in modern time.
That's actually really cool that the myth of a video game that may or may not exist spawned the existence of several video games under the same name.
Yeah.
That's super fucking cool to me.
Yeah.
And they all have super, super hardcore Geometry Wars vibes.
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's pretty great.
I think that's about it, though, boys. What do you think?
I'd say that wraps it on this one.
Yeah, we've kind of exhausted all mediums on
Awesome.
Polybius.
Well, Jason, do you have anything to say to the audience then?
Yeah, you know what? I kind of want to change it up today.
Yeah.
And I actually have a prepared speech.
Aw.
I know, yeah. It's, are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening.
Theodore John Kaczynski was born May 22nd, 1942, also known as the Unabomber, an American domestic terrorist, anarchist, and former mathematics professor. He was a mathematics prodigy, but abandoned his academic career in 1969 to move a more primitive life between 1978 and 1995. I'm just going to keep going with this unless you guys interrupt.
No, I'm not going to stop you.
I'm actually like really. You sucked me in for a second there.
I forgot that his name was fucking Ted Kaczynski, and
Yeah.
I was like, do you mean John Krasinski? No.
As soon as he said it, I was like, and we're going into the Unabomber. Here we are.
Oh no, I want you to just read his.
All right,
I'm
here
assuming
we
you're on
go.
his Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
No, I'll
guys.
stop you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. We really appreciate it.
I do want to take a
You
minute.
can
real
find
quick.
us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. What?
I do want to take a minute real quick before we sign off.
You're getting all sexy with
I am getting all
with this
sexy.
sexy voice.
I want you all. I'm assuming some of you are there driving to or from work right now. If you're driving home from work, go home.
I think they got that one covered. Mike.
Go home. Just go home.
What the fuck are you doing?
Hang on, I'm getting there.
Okay.
Go home. Make yourself a nice dinner. Have a nice drink. You've earned it. You've been good. If you don't drink, if you smoke, roll up like a baby's leg of marijuana. You've been good. You've earned it. If you're going to work, go home. Call off. Listen to more of the podcast. Tell your boss to eat your teeth. Your teeth. Pull your teeth out. Shove them down his throat or her throat. And then follow us on social media.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We have all of them. You're going to be able to find us where all podcasts are available.
We're under. Don't look under the internet for all of them. The handle for most of them is DelutiPod. DLUTI pod. You'll see my stupid drunken posts on there more than likely sometimes.
They're fun.
They're okay. Yeah, it's a good.
Thank you guys, please, so much for listening. Join us again 2 weeks from now. Going on another fantastic topic. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to us. The amateur investigators drunkenly research some topics that are very weird and obscure and then talk about them. So thank you so much. Please remember to stay paranoid.
Eat your toothbrush.
Oh.
And don't forget to slap beans and bake beans.
There it is.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna go to your home. I'm gonna slap your beans,
I'm doing that right.
and then I'm gonna
No.
tell your father that I love him and that you love him. That you love him so much.
Is this while you're slapping peens?
Yeah, I'm
like,
slapping your
you're
dad's
keeping eye
peen.
contact right here. End the show. End the show.